Welcome to the final part of my Bandsaw building series. Here you see me working on a table for the bandsaw that will be free to rotate from 0 to 90 degrees. This part is in the middle of the table and the blade will run through here. So as I said, the table can rotate, so therefore we need two things that can move relative to each other, right? So this is the inner part that will be connected to the actual table, and this other thing is the outer part that will be stationary, that will be connected to the frame. So the table has two of these joints, as you can see, one on every side. I think that this design is pretty common and it works very well. It has been tested many times, so I didn't invent anything new and just went for the existing design. The first dowel makes the actual connection and the second one is just to fill the hole. And this entire table carrier is attached to the frame with M6 bolts and threaded inserts. These threaded inserts became my favorite hardware in this build. And yes, I did forget to put the locking bolt in before screwing it to the table. So I screwed it up instead. Okay, and there were like 20 other screw ups during this build. So just keep in mind that even if it looks like everything lined up and worked on the first try in the video, trust me, it didn't, and it took many times and many mistakes. But mistakes can be learned from, right? I created the enclosure based on the existing frame. It's made from thin scrap plywood with some metal braces. It has kind of weird shape and it was a lot of fiddling to get it right so that it wouldn't interfere with the table and the knobs and everything else. And the main reason for it is safety, obviously, but it's not meant to keep the dust in. It's pretty open. Yippee! The bandsaw is obviously too short right now, and it needs a base. I made it from flat steel, which is wide and thin. So it's pretty stiff in this direction, front to back, but it's really bad in this direction, left to right. So I needed some kind of reinforcement, like this one. But that would obstruct the space inside, which I wanted to use for drawers, for storage space. So instead I used some topology optimization and came up with this V-shaped reinforcement, which increases the stiffness of the frame and allows for some open storage space on the sides and for drawers in the middle, which you will see later. Yeah, these are the slides for the drawers to move in. And this is something that I'm really proud of. This is my design of retractable wheels. So there is a lever here on the side, and if you push it down, the wheels make contact with the ground and you can move it freely. And when you release the lever, it drops down by itself with gravity, and it drops down on 4 foot and it is stationary again. So now let's look at tensioning the blade. This is the back side of the upper wheel mounting. The wheel, which is not visible, is mounted with these housings to this block. And the block is attached on 4 screws to this bar, and then to the slides and to the frame. So I can loosen these 4 nuts, and this entire thing will move up in the slides, and thus will tension the blade. And then I can lock it in that position by locking these screws again. And what about these 4 inside screws, which are actually threaded rods? Why are they important? It's because I knew from the beginning I wouldn't be able to position the upper wheel perfectly. And there's a saying, if you can't make it perfect, at least make it adjustable, right? So that's what I did. There is always a nut on both sides of the connecting rod, which essentially allows me to adjust the distance from the bar to the block. So I can tighten the top bolts to make the top go toward me, and therefore tilt the wheel like this. And on the other hand, by loosening the top ones or tightening the bottom ones, I can move it in the opposite direction. And the adjustment left to right is similar. So I can essentially move it in any direction like this, within a few millimeters of course, as the left or right adjustment is obviously limited by the clearance of the block in the frame. And also by adjusting all 4 bolts the same amount, I can move the entire wheel front and back. So this way I can ensure it's in line with the bottom wheel and the tracking works well. The table rotates in the joints as we have seen before, and the position is set by these bolts. Now this is the insert plate, which is flush with the rest of the table. If I'm cutting something thin, I put the blade guide down and raise it up for something thicker. We will see that later. Even in the bottom position, if it's properly tightened, it doesn't wobble. It's 4 centimeters of steel, so it's not going anywhere. If the blade was really wide, I can always move it here or even adjust it up here. And about the sideways adjustment, the screw that holds it is M6 and the hole in the bearing is 8 mm. So there's 1 mm possible sideways movement, and I can always change it to M4 if I want it more. Now let's see it in action. Let's make some test cuts. Thank you for watching, guys. See you next time. Have a great day. Bye.